The May 14th meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Alcoffer. Here. Mr. Ansello. Here. Mr. Baroff. Here. Ms. Boyce. Here. Mr. Brew. Here. President Carbone.
Here.
Mr. Delahanty.
Here.
Mrs. DeFlorio.
Here.
Mrs. Draw.
Here.
Mr. Felder.
Here.
Mr. Flagler Mitchell.
Here.
Ms. Halstead.
Here.
Mr. Hebert.
Here.
Mr. Howland.
Here.
Ms. Cayley.
Here.
Ms. Lamar.
Here.
Mr. Lightfoot.
Here.
Mr. Mafucci.
Here.
Mr. Marinetti.
Here.
Mr. Michikay is excused. Mr. Morelli.
Here.
Mr. Moyo.
Here.
Mr. Rockow.
Here.
Mr. Shepard.
Here.
Ms. Taylor. Mr. Terp.
Here.
Mr. Wilcox.
Here.
Mr. Wilt.
Here.
Mr. Zale.
Here.
Please stay seated. I'd like to introduce Pastor Mark Dupre of Christ Community Church, who has been invited by legislator Mike Zale to lead us in a moment of prayer.
Hello, it's an honor to be here. I greet you from Brockport, which actually is in Monroe County. So, here, yes. Let's take a breath and just settle ourselves. Let's close our eyes and just go into prayer for a moment. Thank you, Father, that we're here today, doing what we're doing today. No matter what actions we've done, work we've put in, campaigns we've run, Lord, it's ultimately your hand that's brought us to this position and even into today's meeting. Open our eyes to see the depth of that truth. Father, we know that all authority to govern comes from you. For your word says there is no authority except that which you have established. As a gift from you, we are called to steward that authority well. Father, may faithfulness to this gift be our highest priority, that we may serve those we represent with integrity, justice, and grace. Father, I pray that today's meeting will be filled to overflowing with your wisdom, that the best and most righteous solutions to our many challenges would be found. I pray that today our interactions will be characterized by kindness, patience, and deference. Father, I pray that as a group, this gathering would be guided by a spirit of service, putting aside all other agendas. And I pray that as individuals, as each person here today works to fulfill their call, would come closer to connecting with you, our great Creator and Savior. I pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. On behalf of the Monroe County Legislature, thank you. Okay. Please stand as Majority Leader Brian Marinetti will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Legislator Marinetti.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Your copy of the Journal of Day 4, April 9th, 2019 is available on your tablet. Without exception, the Journal will stand approved as submitted. On behalf of the entire legislature, I'd like to congratulate Legislator Mike Rockow on the birth of his second grandson, Desmond Daniel Nichols. Congratulations. Third. Jamie, third. There's a hearing loop in place tonight to assist those who are hearing impaired. Anyone requiring assistance should inquire in the clerk's office.
If you have a cellular phone, page, or other electronic device in your possession, I'd request that you make it inaudible for the duration of the meeting. Thank you.
Legislators, the referrals submitted to the legislature for the next committee cycle are available on your tablet as well as online. There are several proclamations scheduled this evening. Mr. Clerk.
Will Dr. John Garneau please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone and County Executive Cheryl D'Onofrio. Whereas veterans have sacrificed so much for the freedom of every citizen in America. They answered the call of duty for our country and served proudly. As elected officials in Monroe County, it is our job to ensure that local veterans have every opportunity possible to obtain the benefits they deserve. And whereas, without a proper and thorough evaluation from a doctor, a veteran is unable to receive their entitled benefits from Veterans Affairs. In April of this year, a local veteran reached out to the Monroe County Veterans Service Agency for assistance when he felt as though he did not receive a thorough enough exam and therefore did not qualify for benefits. Director Nick Stevanovic worked tirelessly calling various primary care physicians and kept getting the same message. The doctor is not taking new patients. Nearly giving up, Director Stevanovic reached out to the President of the Legislature, Dr. Joe Carbone, who told him to reach out to Dr. John J. Garneau. And whereas, upon hearing about the situation, Dr. Garneau immediately put the needs of this veteran first and got him on the schedule for the following week. Upon receiving a thorough exam, the veteran did in fact qualify for benefits. After the examination, Dr. Garneau reached out to Director Stevanovic and told him that if this situation ever arises again, to send any veterans in need his way, and he will ensure they receive a proper examination. Monroe County is eternally grateful that Dr. Garneau not only stepped up when one veteran was in need, but that he will continue to step up for all veterans in Monroe County. When Director Stevanovic reached out to thank Dr. Garneau, he said this: "Do not ever let anyone tell you that there's nothing that cannot be done. There is always something that can be done." Monroe County is proud to be the home of such a dedicated medical professional like Dr. John Garneau. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, Monroe County Executive, and Dr. Joe Carbone, President, on behalf of the residents of Monroe County, do hereby recognize and congratulate Dr. John J. Garneau for his contributions of time and talent to the veteran community of Monroe County.
Thank you very much. I'm really deeply honored to receive this, but the real honor was being able to help somebody who served and kept our country safe. So I really ask all of you to make sure that you never say there's nothing you can do, because you can always do more. And if you start everything by saying, how can I help? I think two things will happen. One, you'll find out you can, and two, you'll feel a lot better. So thank you very much.
Will Peter Dillon and Dr. Albert Brault please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone, Legislator Kara C. Halstead, and County Executive Cheryl Donalfo. Over the last few decades, we have been exposed to incredible technological advances that have radically changed the way we communicate with each other and spread information. Since the creation of Kodak, Rochester has played a huge role in photonics and imaging, which has changed the landscape of the world around us. In early 1974, Peter Dillon and Dr. Albert Brault both worked at Kodak Research Labs, helping to keep Rochester at the forefront of the industry. And whereas, while at Kodak Research Labs, Dillon and Dr. Brault spearheaded a new design for an early prototype color video camcorder. This new technology made capturing color digital images inexpensive and universal. Thanks to their visionary idea, nearly everyone now carries the technology they developed in their purse or pocket, since the technology is widely used to create color photos and video clips in a broad range of products, including smartphone cameras, drones, and medical imaging devices. And whereas Peter Dillon and Dr. Albert Brault have revolutionized how individuals everywhere use color images to connect. In light of this, on April 7, 2019, Mr. Dillon and Dr. Brault received the Technology Emmy Awards from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for their pioneering development of the single-chip color camera. This award is profound, and it represents the years of tireless work that Peter Dillon and Dr. Albert Brault have devoted to advancing the technological landscape of our world. We are incredibly proud to say that both Peter and Albert are one of our very own, who went on to change our community and the world. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, Monroe County Executive, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, and Kara C. Halstead, Legislator, District 18, on behalf of the residents of Monroe County, do hereby recognize and congratulate Mr. Peter Dillon and Dr. Albert Brault for receiving the Technology Emmy Awards from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences.
I just want to say it's a great pleasure to be recognized by this distinguished group. It feels very good to have this work that we did 45 years ago to realize it's alive and we're well and still living in all of your pockets. So thank you very much for the honor.
County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, President of the Legislative Council, Dr. Joe Carbone, and Kara Halstead, our legislature from Perrington and the rest of the legislature. As mentioned, the work that we were recognized and given an Emmy at the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences was research that Peter and I did 45 years ago. You can imagine our reaction. We were shocked. Receiving this proclamation was also a big surprise to us. We know that the way that the best tool you have to say to people like Peter and I, we are proud of you, we appreciate what you've done, and thank you, is to give us a proclamation. We are so grateful and so thankful to you for what you've done here. It means a lot to us, and we will remember this. Thank you so much.
Will Dale Davis please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone and Legislator Sean M. Delahanty.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Whereas, making an impact on the lives of students and families through education is very admirable. Dale Davis is an example of someone who is very passionate about education. She is a founder of the New York State Poets in the Schools and the New York State Literacy Center, where she serves as executive director. Dale has received the Distinguished Service to the Field Award, given to long-tenured artist educators. She has served over 20 years supporting teacher artists in New York State and beyond through the creation and growth of the Association of Teaching Artists. Dale was instrumental in the creation of the first ATA Awards and securing the third week of May as nationally recognized Teaching Arts Appreciation Week. And whereas, Dale also edited and published hundreds of books for the New York State Literacy Center and has written hip-hop theater pieces that have been performed in juvenile justice facilities. Additionally, she has lectured throughout the country at numerous highly respected institutions, including the College Board's National Forum on Education and the American Future. Her writing has appeared in widely known sources such as the New York Times and has been recognized by many different groups. She has had an influence on countless people through her work. And whereas, Dale has shown a dedication to young people as well as to educators who help our youth to grow. Throughout her career, she has remained committed to furthering education and recognition in the field. She has been instrumental in raising the visibility of teaching artists within the education and community arts field and in the organizations and institutions for which they work. Now, therefore, we, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, and Sean M. Delahanty, Legislator, District 11, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby recognize and congratulate Dale Davis on her well-deserved Distinguished Service to the Field Award.
I need my glasses. I want to thank the Monroe County Legislature, Cheryl D'Onofrio, Sean Delahanty, and Dr. Carbone for this great honor. The recognition of the Distinguished Service to the Field Award I will be receiving from the Association of Teaching Artists in New York City on Friday. I began work as an artist educator in Monroe County over 40 years ago. The New York State Council on the Arts invited me to teach as a poet in elementary school. In those 40 years, I've worked in countless schools at all grades, in alternative education programs, in juvenile justice, and residential placement facilities, and correctional facilities in Monroe County. In 1979, I founded the New York State Literary Center as a nonprofit to refine and develop the work I was doing. There are so many people I could thank, and at this time I'd like to take the opportunity to thank three of the individuals who guided and supported my career. David Halprin, who introduced me to the needs of high-risk students. David Silver, who offered me the challenge of working with the incarcerated. And Edward Ignari, who as Director of Rehabilitation for the Office of the Sheriff, schooled me in working with those incarcerated and the history and scope of rehabilitation and corrections. And I must also thank the many sheriff's deputies who are always there to facilitate learning, and all of the young people and those incarcerated who shared their lives with me. Thank you. Thank you, Bear. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There are no formal committee reports scheduled for this evening. We will now hold a public forum. We have several people registered to address the legislature. Mr. Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the podium. I will call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature, and kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds and exit through the door behind the podium. Thank you for your cooperation. Our first 3 speakers are Ellen Mancuso, Austin Smith, and Liz McGregor.
Hi, everyone. I thank you for the opportunity to be here to speak. I'm a retired faculty member from Monroe Community College. Some of you might wonder why a retired faculty member is willing to give up her time and come here and make a presentation. Well, the truth of it, I fell in love with MCC. I went there in 1989 and I worked under Presidents Flynn and President Spina. They were both excellent in their leadership and their ability to work together to solve problems. Sadly, it's no longer like that. I'm going to continue reading the 68 points of why we voted no confidence in President Ann Kress. I admit they're boring to read and they're boring to hear. But our faculty felt like it was important that you hear them, so maybe you would look a little further and go read them for yourself. Number 8. You can see I'm moving along very quickly here. The CEO's decision to restrict access by requiring all BOT communication be funneled only through the board secretary employed in the President's office, which is a clear violation of the MCC core value of integrity. In the past, we were able to work directly with the board. We were able to send them our faculty newsletter at home. We were able to email them. Sadly, it's not like that. Number 9, the CEO's continuing failure to facilitate even minimal improvements in the channels of communication between the Board of Trustees and its employees, in clear violation of the MCC core value of integrity. Our public forum used to be at the beginning of the meetings, but now it is sadly at the end of the meetings, where some members leave and most never pay attention to anything that the faculty say. They've been standing up there talking to the board for the last 2 years. Number 10, reversal of a 30-year precedent of salary equity implementation, which originally resulted from a class action wage discrimination charge and subsequent management settlement. It's Article 46 in our contract, has produced cases of employees being denied long-anticipated salary and retirement adjustments. Some of you may remember the early history of MCC. We had the MCC Women's Caucus, and we found out that the women were being paid less at MCC. They went to court and they won. That was before I joined the college in 1989. Well, I've gotten through 3. I'll see you next month. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Bit of a klutz with these crutches. Thank you. Good evening, legislators. My name is Liam Smith, and I'm a junior at Brighton High School. I'm a member of the Rochester Youth Climate Leaders, which is a group of middle school and high school students working to combat climate change in the greater Rochester area. I'm here today, along with my fellow Rochester Youth Climate Leaders and our supporters, because I am concerned for my future and for the future of my generation. If greenhouse gas emissions and average global temperature continue to rise, the ramifications of climate change will become increasingly severe over time, leaving children and their children to cope with a rapidly changing climate. While the effects of climate change will be most obvious in places more susceptible to natural disasters like hurricanes and wildfires, we will also witness its effects in our county. In fact, as weather becomes more extreme, we will experience more flooding along rivers and lakes, more drought and worse storms, and a higher prevalence of diseases like Lyme disease. We must take action now to stop climate change in its tracks and protect children and future generations from its worst effects. Unfortunately, with a climate denier in the Oval Office and a Congress that seems unable to agree on any climate policy, we simply cannot expect our federal government to adequately address climate change. This means that it is increasingly up to local leaders like you, to address climate change. We, the Rochester Youth Climate Leaders, are here today to ask you to establish a climate action plan. Now you may ask, what is a climate action plan? Well, it would essentially be a comprehensive plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions throughout our county. Other places have done this before, so we read through a few climate action plans, and we found that we really liked the one from Portland and Multnomah County in Oregon. That being said, my fellow Rochester Youth Climate Leaders have also reserved spots in your agenda to speak tonight, so they will be going through the main areas of focus of Portland's plan, as detailed on the handouts that I believe were distributed to you. Afterwards, we will also be presenting you with a petition with over 1,300 signatures in support of a county-wide climate action plan. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Liz McGregor. I'm an independent speech-language pathologist servicing children in both the early intervention and preschool programs. I would like to thank you for approving the 15% rate increase for preschool-related services. We are all very appreciative of your support of this long overdue rate adjustment. I imagine you were hoping not to hear from any of us this month. However, I just wanted to bring you up to speed on what is happening locally. As you may or may not be aware of, at the end of April, the Monroe County Special Children's Services Administrator resigned. Anne Marie Stefan's absence leaves a hole in the county. She was 100% committed to the early intervention and preschool programs and the children they serve. Anne Marie worked tirelessly to make those two broken systems run as effectively as possible for everyone involved. Thankfully, the county is in the process of interviewing candidates for this position. In the meantime, we preschool providers are looking forward to seeing the rate increase in our new contracts. But we fear we may not see those new contracts before our current ones expire at the end of June. In years past, we had received the new contracts and insurance requirements long before now. Unfortunately, without an executed contract, we cannot provide preschool services. This means that all of the preschoolers whose needs are most intensive and therefore qualify for an extended school year will not be able to receive summer services. In other words, the county will not be able to fulfill the legal requirements of the IEPs. I don't know who is responsible for executing our contracts, but hopefully those individuals are working furiously as the deadline is rapidly approaching. Of concern to the independent providers like myself, in our county, that the preschool rates for agency and independent providers are the same. For years, independent providers have been making $14 less per hour than agency providers for the exact same services. Monroe County is the only county in the state with a rate discrepancy between agencies and independent providers. In preparation for this new contract, Anne Marie Stefan had requested equal rates for all providers. Hopefully, we will have good news to share with you at next month's meeting. As always, thank you for your time and for your continued support of our children.
Our next three speakers are Maya Williams, Donald Adams, and Aisha Qatari.
Hello, I'm Maya Williams from Bryan High School. I'm going to skip ahead a few slides on the slide thing you have in front of you for the Climate Action Plan. So another area to focus climate action is in urban forestry. As you probably know, we want to reduce our carbon footprint in the air. By planting more trees in the city, not only will it reduce carbon dioxide levels, but provide more wilderness habitats. In addition, greener infrastructure can be utilized. This means to coexist with and utilize nature to our benefit, such as rooftop gardens and porous pavements for drainage. Effective change can be harnessed by educating and reaching out to the community. By working with local leaders, community education can help encourage people to become more involved and participatory against climate change. In fact, local government operations have the most power to create positive change, such as promoting greener, more energy-efficient government buildings, renovating transportation infrastructure, for example, replacing streetlights with LEDs, and electric buses for public transport. The creation of more bike lanes creates a sense of security for bikers, decreasing car use. Construction projects can seek more fuel-efficient tools and vehicles. In addition, the government can set an example when procuring new supplies by leaning towards plastic-free, biodegradable goods. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ishaq Qatari, and I'm a junior at Brighton High School, and part of the leadership team for the Brighton High School Climate Club. The Rochester Youth Climate Leaders have a petition available online and in paper with over 1,300 signatures supporting a climate action plan, and I urge anyone interested to sign our petition. I would now like to read some comments on our petition. So one person wrote, a stable climate is a necessary condition for human civilians. Let's act locally and be the change we need. Another wrote, I have grandchildren. I want to have a livable planet for them to live on when they get to my age. The United States must once again become a world in the fight against human-caused climate change rather than the joke we have become. This is the central and critical issue of my lifetime and of today. Very individual, family, community, business, and government needs to have a focus on mitigating climate impacts. Despite the ignorance of the presidents on the issue, climate change is real and is damaging the earth now, and future consequences will be dire. And finally, someone wrote that this needs to be a top priority for everyone. Again, I urge anyone interested to sign our petition. I'm going to leave a copy with the clerk. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Chris Rogers, Neely Kelly, and Liam Smith.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kristen Rogers, and I'm the Advocacy Coordinator with the Children's Agenda. I come before you this evening to once again thank you for the 15% increase in preschool-related services. However, while we appreciate that, we want you to keep in mind that the 15% is merely an initial step toward the 30% that is truly needed for significant change. Therefore, we ask that you please continue to annually increase the preschool-related services rate. On another note, we've been hearing some concern from preschool special education providers that they have yet to receive the county contracts at the higher rates. Their current contracts end at the end of June. Thus, the new contracts effective July 1st should include the rate increases. Providers will have more certainty about hiring and other decisions when their new county contracts are received. In addition, we believe that independent providers should be receiving the same rates as agency providers. Currently, independent providers receive less funding for the same services, which we believe hinders some of them from providing preschool-related services. And finally, we ask you, the legislators, to continue to champion with us for rate increases at the state level and ensure that NYSAC makes this a priority over the next year. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Neely Kelly, and I'm Senior Organizer for Mothers Out Front, New York. In my early 20s, my climate science denial, like many around me, Republicans in South Carolina, was strong and entrenched. One specific comment I made has really stuck with me all these years. Those scientists are lying about climate change. They are just after more research money, derisively and scornfully. Then that changed. As a Peace Corps volunteer, I had witnessed the unrelenting deforestation of the virgin rainforest in Gabon, Central Africa. The Gabonese elders in my village spoke about changing weather patterns. The rainy season was hotter and shorter. The dry season was longer. And through these experiences, my mind had opened to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, humans could impact climate. So I approached a friend, a scientist, now husband, and asked, so is man-made climate change really happening? And he responded by answering my questions matter-of-factly, and most importantly, respectfully and kindly. I finally understood why humans burning fossil fuels was causing the earth to heat up, but I was pretty naive. I believed that leaders would sort things out before climate change threatened life on earth. Today, 13 years later, man-made climate change is accelerating so rapidly that the International Panel on Climate Change says we have 10 years to transition completely off fossil fuels to avoid catastrophic global climate change. This morning, I watched a video of Even Keel teach about science in a fun way. Bill Nye, the science guy, hold a blowtorch to a model of the Earth while saying, the planet is on fucking fire, with the message that adults must act now. The Arctic hit a high of 84 degrees Fahrenheit. We are witness to the 6th mass extinction event. I could go on for days about the impact of climate change at the local, state, national, and global levels. But even more heartbreaking than all of this, college students I know and love are calling themselves the last generation because of climate change. I'm here tonight in support of the Rochester Youth Climate Leaders to urge each and every one of you to vote in support of creating a climate action plan for Monroe County. You have the power to do so. Support our youth and do the right thing. For the sake of all children and life on this earth, I beg you to act.
Good evening, legislators. I'm Austin Smith with the Rochester Youth Climate Leaders. I go to Brighton High School, and I just have a few more things to outline about our proposed climate action plan. So initially, what we'd like to see is a countywide emissions assessment to determine what the most important areas are for us to reduce our emissions. This is slide 4 in the handout. And we also would need a vulnerability study to figure out which communities will need the most help in adapting to the impacts of climate change in the coming decades. And finally, Monroe County should pass the enabling legislation for PACE financing, which is a statewide program that already exists, which allows local businesses to have an easier time getting loans to improve their sustainability, which it attaches those loans to the property rather than to the owner of the business. And a climate action plan should also encourage improvements in buildings and energy, so efficiency improvements and transitions towards more renewable energy, both in government buildings and in other local businesses, school districts, etc. We also should encourage more urban form and mass transit. So mass transit could really be improved throughout Monroe County. And we should be encouraging better consumption in solid waste, so less, more composting, less plastic, things like that. And I also have over 1,300 signatures to give to the legislature. Who should I hand these to? Thanks. Thank you.
I will now recall Donald Adams. This concludes the public forum.
We will now proceed with the consideration of local laws. Will the clerk please read the first item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral 19-0107.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is for introductory purposes only. Next item.
Item number 2, referral 19-0107.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is a motion to table. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 3, referral 19-0107.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 4, referral 19-0108.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Brew. This is for introductory purposes only. Next item.
Item number 5, referral 19-0108.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Brew. This is a motion to amend. This amendment arose from a discussion in committee. Can the Law Department please explain the nature of the amendment?
The amendment was needed to make the local law gender neutral. And we have done that, and we are submitting a motion to you tonight.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't. Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, regarding these amendments in red, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, I had a question about under the first correction, which isn't really directly on gender. It strikes out Monroe County Director of Public Works. Mr. President, and it includes new language called the County of Monroe County Surveyor. So I just wanted some clarification on that, Mr. President, to the administration, if they can try to help me to understand some basic questions of is this a newly created position, or is it something that I trying to discuss with my caucus? Is this Mike Garland's position that changes titles? So I don't really understand exactly what it is. So I think you just tell me why this states this and what it's doing.
Through the President, the Monroe County Surveyor is an existing position, and there is no longer a Monroe County Director of Public Works. These were presented at committee. The changes for today are, I should have stated earlier, are the ones in blue.
Okay, but so there's still some. So okay. Through my understanding, it went through committee. I understand that, but we're just on the legislative floor, so I just wanted to ask a question. So, and I think you're getting to it that this position, public works, is no longer in existence in the first place. So this County of Monroe County Surveyor, which reads kind of funny, but this is a position that's already existing. I mean, has it been in existence more than in the last 6 months or a year, or is it new to our budget? To you, Mr. President.
Through the President, the County Surveyor has been around for probably over a decade, and it's a position in the Real Property Division.
I understand. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the amendments that have been made. I have a question. It's regarding the definition of director in Section 2. It's being amended from his, in quotation marks, to his or her, in quotation marks. In committee, I asked that be changed to their, T-H-E-I-R. And it seemed that I had an affirmative response from someone in the administration. So I don't know if that got lost in translation, but I think that would be a more effective way to enshrine this idea into this document. And so I'd propose that. I don't know if we would like to call his or her a Scrivener's error and just replace it with T-H-E-I-R. No. Thank you, John. So thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to say that. I'll be voting in favor of this, and I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 6, referral 19-0108.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Brew. This is a motion to table. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral 19-0108.LL.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Brew. This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. We will now proceed with the consideration of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk read the next item on the agenda?
Item number 8, referral 19-0091.
Moved by Legislator Marinetti, seconded by Legislator Cayley. This is to adopt. Before we begin discussion, I'd like to thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, as well as County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, for co-sponsoring this item. Constance Mitchell was a trailblazer and left an immeasurable impact on Monroe County. The unveiling of the plaque for Constance Mitchell will be held this Friday, May 17th, at 10 o'clock on the 4th floor of the county office building, and all are invited to attend. Is there any discussion on this matter? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 9, referral 19-0092.
Moved by Legislator DeFlorio, seconded by Legislator Boyce. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, did you receive the letter that I sent you in regards to the vacancies on the planning board?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Mr. President, in the
Did
future...
you receive our answer from the law department?
No, sir. I never received an answer from you in regards to my letter.
I signed a letter and sent it to you from the law department. I don't know where it got mixed up in the shuffle.
Our office never received anything in response from you in regards to the letter that I sent. So
I'm sorry about that. Could we send that
Mr.
again?
President, I am glad that we are filling the vacancies, which is our responsibility to do. However, since I never received a letter in response from you, I will be voting against these appointments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I guess we'll go to a roll call vote.
Mr. Marinetti?
Yes.
Ms. Cayley? No. Mr. Alcoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Ansello?
Yes.
Mr. Broth?
No.
Ms. Boyce? No. Mr. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Delahanty?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFlorio?
Yes.
Mrs. Draw?
Yes.
Mr. Felder?
No.
Mr. Flagler Mitchell?
No.
Ms. Halstead?
Yes.
Mr. Hebert?
Yes.
Mr. Howland?
Yes.
Ms. Lamar? No. Mr. Lightfoot?
No.
Mr. Mafucci?
No.
Mr. Michikay is excused. Mr. Morelli?
No.
Mr. Moyle?
No.
Mr. Rocco? Yes. Mr. Shepard?
No.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Terp?
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox?
No.
Mr. Wilt?
Yes.
Mr. Zale?
Yes.
President Carbone?
Yes.
17-11, motion to adopt passes.
Next item.
Item number 10, referral 19-0096.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Legislator Broth.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to note that I did not ask these questions during Ways and Means, and so I have a few questions I need to address in the full legislature. So through you, Mr. President, to the administration, in the referral, it cites, aside from leasing, that there are a variety of mechanisms that are utilized to finance these vehicles. What are those variety of mechanisms, please?
Through the chair, this particular one is using cash capital, and we're moving it into a capital account out of the operating account. Another mechanism would be like through grant type funding, which would be in the operating budget in the grant funds. I'm not aware of any others because I'm not from that department, but I know those two.
Okay, thank you. So through the President's administration, do you have any idea how long these vehicles have been financed through the operations fund?
Through the chair, we just established this fund with one vehicle in 2018 in public safety. I can only speak for public safety. And we just established it with one in 2018, and then we have 3 starting in 19, and then we will keep them on a cycle for each division.
Thank you. And through the President's administration, I know there's a fleet of approximately 71, and so you're talking about 4 vehicles out of 71. Is that correct, through the President?
Through the chair at this time, yes.
So through the President to the administration, how long do we anticipate it will be to cycle through the entire fleet at this rate?
These are just passenger vehicles, part of the 71.
Right. Through the chair, at this time, these are only passenger vehicles, and we're working our passenger vehicles into them. So they would be like probation and communications trucks. They're not the big, right now, currently in this budget, we have a weights and measures flatbed truck, which is much more money, more custom type thing. We have trailers and that kind of thing. So the 71 includes all different types of vehicles, some which may be capital, or some which may be grant funded, so.
Okay, so the President of the Administration, how many vehicles are passenger vehicles in the fleet?
Through the President, off the top of my head, about 40.
Thank you.
Just a quick estimate.
Fair enough. So through the President to the Administration, could you tell me how long the lease is run for?
Through the Chair, or through the President, this wouldn't be a lease. This would be a purchase.
Okay.
So it would be based on use, mileage, age, that type of stuff.
Sure.
When they're replaced. And then again, we'd be cycling, like, at this point, 4 every year. So we wouldn't buy them all at once.
No. So through the President of the Administration, at this rate then, would I be correct to assume it would take about 10 years to get through the fleet?
Through the Chair, that is correct, and we may amend or add to the capital plan as we deem necessary throughout the life cycle of the capital plan.
Thank you. So through the President of the Administration, how much cash capital is currently available in these funds?
Through the Chair, this year, there's 120 in 2019, but we're amending it to 160,000 because we bought a vehicle last year for 40, so the total project is 160,000.
Thank you. Just to be clear, through the President of the Administration, so where did the additional 40K in cash capital come from?
Through the Chair, the 40 was budgeted in the operating as well as the capital budget in December of 18. The additional 80 was in the operating budget, but not in the capital budget.
Okay. And then through the President of the Administration, of the fleet, do we anticipate that we'll only be purchasing them, the fleet of passenger vehicles, do we anticipate we only be purchasing them through cash capital moving forward through the President?
Through the President, that is the intent.
Thank you. And then finally, through the President of the Administration, this may have been asked, but was this approved the meeting of April 25th at the Planning Board?
Through the Chair, yes, it was.
Thank you for bearing with me. I
President.
apologize for taking so much time during the full ledge.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 11, referral 19-0096.BR.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 12, referral 19-0097.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Legislator, our new legislator. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to declare my interest on this item. I work for the University of Rochester Medical Faculty Group.
Thank you, Legislator Halstead. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 13, referral 19-0098.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 14, referral 19-0099.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 15, referral 19-0100.
Moved by Legislator Zales, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 16, referral 19-0101.
Moved by Legislator Zales, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 17, referral 19-0102.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 18, referral 19-0103.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 19, referral 19-0104.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 20, referral 19-0105.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Draw. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 21, referral 19-0106.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Draw. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 22, referral 19-0109.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Taylor. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 23, referral 19-0110.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 24, referral 19-0111.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 25, referral 19-0112.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Draw. This is to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 26, referral 19-0113.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. There is no unfinished business. However, we do have a plaque presentation tonight. At this time, I'd like to ask Legislator Lachey Harris to please join me at the podium. I'm going to miss you. All right. Okay. Thank you, Lachey. You were sworn in as a Monroe County legislator in January of 2016. In your time as a county legislator, you have served as the ranking minority member for the Human Services Committee and as a member of the Public Safety Committee. You have represented the residents of the 27th Legislative District in the City of Rochester well. You have been great to work with, and your hard work is evident from your time here in the legislative chambers. Thank you for your service in the legislature. I think we have all enjoyed working with you, and we wish you the best at City Council. Now I'm proud to present you with this plaque to honor your service and representation of the constituents of the 27th Legislative District in the City of Rochester.
Thank you so much for this honor, Dr. President Carbone, Dr. Carbone. I'm totally going to miss his gazelles. Thank you so much to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and thank you, Cheryl D'Onofrio, for your partnership and your hard work as well. This is bittersweet for me. As you guys all know, this is where I started in government, and I stand on broad lady's shoulders, Constance Mitchell, so I'm looking forward to celebrating her legacy this Friday. And Sabrina, we got broad shoulders we're standing on Constance Mitchell, so we're going to make her proud. And I'm looking forward to honoring our legacy from county government going on to city government. Looking forward to continued working for our city and 27th District as your city council person. Thank you so much for everything.
Legislator Marionetti.
Tuesday, June 11th, 2019.